Muchas gracias, Javier. Buenas tardes, hola. Mi nombre es Joshua Silver. Soy de los Estados Unidos, Washington, D.C. I'm going to speak in English now. So this will be the first and last presentation you'll hear in all English. So please bear with me. I'm an urban planner with the District of Columbia Office of Planning, which is an executive branch of the Mayor's Office for Washington, D.C., Muriel Bowser. I would like to thank Ciudad Emergente and its partners in the shared cities for South by South cooperation for the opportunity to be here and as part of the Board of Advisors. I am really thrilled to be here this afternoon for a couple reasons. This is the first time I've been in South America. I've been here for just over 24 hours now, and I'm enjoying my time so far and hearing from you all. But more importantly, I've been presented with this opportunity to talk to you all today a little bit about the District of Columbia's work, and specifically my office, the DC Office of Planning, that is undertaking using arts and culture in our city to really engage communities differently, and how arts and culture is used to innovate in public space activation, placemaking, and social sustainability. So I had a question up there that I wanted to start you all on, just to get you thinking a little bit about how you might use arts and culture a little bit differently. Maybe you think about it for economic reasons, or you think about it for housing reasons, about making connections with different communities. But importantly, we are using it here in the District of Columbia to really kind of drive conversations differently. The definition that you see on the screen is how we define creative placemaking in Washington, D.C. And it's about shaping the physical, the social, and the economic futures of our communities. What do we want to achieve as a city when we did creative placemaking? Well, we're a planning agency. Many of our plans include goals and recommendations around public space activation and placemaking. We wanted to collect information from our planning work about sustainability, economic development. We wanted to establish new partners in the community with similar goals for improving the quality of life for the 700,000 people in the District of Columbia. So in 2016, the DC Office of Planning launched a citywide effort to use creative placemaking to engage communities differently. It was a new way that focused on connecting people, inspiring community action to make positive change in the social well-being of our neighborhoods. So I wanted to quickly highlight a couple projects for you today. The first project that you see is Oku Plaza, which we did with Ciudad Emergente and Javier. This project really was about applying South American tactical urbanism techniques and using U.S. creative placemaking methods to inform community aspirations for an underutilized public space in their community. Through a combination of programs and activities, we created a unique sensory environment for all ages and users to assemble. It allowed the Office of Planning to collect important metrics about how people use the space and understand the perception of change occurring in the neighborhood. Another project I want to talk about was called Sea Change. Sea Change was created to intentionally bring people together who would not normally talk to one another. It was about creating empathy in the neighborhood in this rapidly changing corridor that has historically been an African-American population living in. Through a series of interviews conducted by a local DC-based artist, they were turned into video portraits. They were projected on storefronts and building walls for a one-week period. These free public events allowed people in the community to come together, socialize the changes that were occurring in their neighborhood and a path forward for their community. The next project I wanted to highlight is called Lot at the Liz. And this is an example of a partnership between an LGBTQ healthcare provider in the District of Columbia, a local developer, and an arts group. And really what this project was about was creating opportunities to celebrate the contributions that the LGBT communities have made to the greater Washington area. The intervention was intended to be bold and noticeable, and it was intended to enliven the block. It was about to bring meaningful and energized community gathering space to the neighborhood and make the LGBT community feel safe. It was a demonstration on how artists, private landowners, and developers can all work together for equally beneficial purposes. The project tested what were some of the successes of our work in the District of Columbia? What did we learn? Well, we know that arts and culture and creative expression get people to look differently at their communities and their public spaces with fresh perspectives, and sometimes in a less threatening way than traditional community engagement or planning activities. Importantly, it also demonstrated the value of arts and culture to the city as how we plan, whether it's a comprehensive plan around transportation, environment, sustainability, economic development. Really our culture, our DC cultural plan. The impact of our work was significant. We engaged over 17,500 people in the city, 17 projects, hundreds of community organizations that all came together because of our intentional use of arts and culture and how we approach community development. I wanted to end on a couple quick notes here. The Washington, D.C. Office of Planning, because of our creative placemaking work, was brought together different people from the diplomatic community, the embassies that are in Washington, D.C., and they recognize the value of this, and they encourage the District of Columbia to become a member of the UCLG Leading Cities of the Agenda 21 for Culture. And by joining the UCLG, it provided the District of Columbia government an unparalleled opportunity to exchange insights and good practices that advance sustainable development, the fourth pillar of sustainability. So I want to leave you with a final question, and that question really is about our projects were temporary. That was intentional, but how can we be successful in making these things permanent? Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak today.